As we know, the garden is where all the real work gets done, not just by the gnarled old head gardener who's been with us since 1922, but also his young, fetching, trusty under-gardener. But it's also by the Deputy Assistant Under Special Advisor on the Northern Ireland Protocol. Oh, and that conga line over there I think they're working on a white paper about the Ukraine. So it's all very busy and very work-like. As I said yesterday, like anyone who has had any truck with Boris Johnson over the last third of a century, I find him entirely without morals or principles. Obviously, there is a certain counterintuitive genius in using an Etonian Toff, Woodhouseian Bluffer Act to pass oneself off as a man of the people, and one must respect that. But it's the Prime Minister's lack of self-discipline that's got him in this mess, and possibly, as Michael Portillo was suggesting on this channel, a lack of basic empathy too. The aim of those disaffected Tories who are growing in number is to replace him with someone who can hold the red wall and keep their majority. But the aim of those who put this stuff on the front page of The Guardian and the headlines of the BBC is something bigger. They want to destroy Brexit, which is Boris Johnson's only accomplishment. Without it, he's just another loser, also-ran, no-name Prime Minister, keeping the seat warm until the next Blair or Thatcher comes along. There are a lot of those. We've had them for 11 years now. 11 Conservative Prime Ministers, and the country gets less Conservative every day. Boris was elected to get Brexit done, and it's not quite done. And the months ahead will determine whether Brexit gets done or whether the present deal winds up breaking the union. The status of Northern Ireland is intolerable to a supposedly independent nation. So the choice is between breaking the union or reducing the entire UK to a ramshackle client state of the Eurocrat empire, rather like a princely state in the days of the Raj or the Trucial states, for you fellows who remember the good old days. The rejoiners in the media, the judiciary, the civil service, all the levers of metropolitan power, the rejoiners haven't given up on their dreams of rejoining, and they see the removal of Johnson and the chaos that would follow as greatly assisting that. On the continent, Monsieur Macron and Brussels see it as vital that Brexit be perceived as a failure pour encourager les autres. And destroying the Johnson premiership is a first step in that. Now, this isn't to excuse anything the Prime Minister did. He's an idiot, and he should have known the minute he stepped across the Downing Street threshold that he would be surrounded by people out to get him every day of the week. The invitation was issued by a civil servant. He should never have issued it, that guy. But it's very typical of a phenomenon the last 2 years have made plain across the Western world. The people who make the rules for you do not regard the rules as applying to them. The trend predates COVID, but COVID has widened the gulf because our rulers have restricted the most basic of activities. Socializing, strolling, getting a coffee from Costa. It's all over the world. The governor of lockdown California was seen whooping it up maskless at a fancy French restaurant. The premier of Alberta was boozing it up at a Downing Street-style party when his downtrodden subjects couldn't, at a time when picnicking was banned in Ireland. The topless Taoiseach, Mr Varadkar, was besporting himself with similarly underdressed hunks around a big picnic hamper in Phoenix Park. The Speaker of the US House, Nancy Pelosi, one of the wealthiest women in America, got an illegal blowout in San Francisco at a time when California's hair salons were all closed down, because she's Nancy Pelosi and you're not. There will be a lot more of this in the years ahead. Increasingly, with or without COVID, we are moving into a post-democratic age where an hermetically sealed elite make rules for the rest of us and do not live as the rest of us. The difference is that no staffer of Nancy Pelosi or that California governor would ever have leaked memos of their private partying. And even if they had, neither the Washington Post nor CNN would have been willing to break the story, because they're all in the same club. For all his climate change hooey, Boris Johnson isn't. And it's incredible that he wasn't sufficiently self-aware to know that the insider license accorded to lefties and Europhiles would not be extended to him, and that if he behaved like Pelosi or Varadkar, some malevolent twerp would be only too happy to leak against him at the point at which it would do him maximum damage. It was in that sense an own goal. The question is whether, having crippled himself, he now winds up crippling the completion of Brexit.